Florida Gators have a big season upcoming both on the field and on the trail. So we're chatting with Keith Niebuhr about it right now. All right. Okay. So Vegas has Florida's over under at 5.5, and ESPN has the Gators going 8-4. I think it's probably safe to say the Gators are winning more than 4 games, and anything above 8 or 9 would be a super exciting surprise for Gator fans. So let's make some predictions on how this class finishes up. Keith, let's talk first. Let's say UF wins 9 games. What is the ceiling on this recruiting class then?
Well, I think at that point you have to look at a solid, top six, top seven type of class. Uh, I think because you'd be able to say it's not a leap of faith anymore. Here, it's proof of concept, right? Here's the vision, and here's it coming to fruition in only year two. Of course, the flip side of that is the selling point gets a little bit harder if you take a step back, let's say. Yeah, it's definitely something you have to look at. There's no doubt. Now, the thing is, though, in this NIL world and kids wanting to play early, you probably could survive a not so great year, quite frankly. I mean, you're going to have to really get the kids to buy in. I don't think
Right.
there's any question about that. But to your question, 8, 9 wins, and I think your people are celebrating early signing period in December, quite frankly.
Okay, so you mentioned other side of the coin, they win
Yeah.
5 or 6 games. I understand the concept of NIL being a big driver. I understand that kids want to play early, so losing games isn't necessarily a terrible thing, but there is that threat of the continuity of your coaching staff at that point too, because then year 2 is done and it'll roll into year 3 and people will start to question, like, is Napier the guy or not? Do you think they're able to get this class to stick together? Let's say they only win 5 games. Where does this class fall then?
Yeah. Well, there's no way to really know, obviously. But yeah,
Right.
here are some of the things that hurt you. One, chirping in your ear from your buddies, phone calls from coaches of other programs. See, we told you. That kind of thing. That's why you belong here. But also, Allie, suppose you and I are recruits and we go to Florida Field in late October and the record's not so good and there's 20,000 empty seats and the atmosphere stinks. And then the next week we go to one of the rival schools of Florida
Sure.
and they're winning and it's exciting and we're getting caught up in it. And so all those little things are just not one thing is any more important than the other, but they're all pieces of a giant puzzle, right? But yeah, I mean, look, kids want to play early. So if you're Florida, I guess the bigger question will be if you're Florida, what is your strategy to keep the class together if you're not winning? Well, one, you have to be able to prove to the kids that you're still going to be there, right? Hey, don't worry, they're going to give us time because you build these relationships with these coaches. You want to know they're going to be there. Okay, so that's the main thing. And two, listen, man, you are going to play. You are going to start. We didn't know you were going to start 3 months ago, but the way it's looking like now, boy, does my team need you more now than ever. So as a staff, you have to be able to sell in any situation, right? If you're a car salesman, you got to be able to sell in a good economy and a bad economy.
Yeah.
A car that's got a great rating, a car that's got a not so great rating. Same thing here. And so you've got to be able to sell. If you're 12-0, how do you convince people to go there if they're not going to play for a year or two?
Right.
You navigate through that. So there's always challenges, but the greatest challenge is if you're not winning, people want to know, is this guy going to be around? And not only, see, Gus Malzahn, who I covered, he had to deal with that for the last 4 years. Hey, this guy's not going to be around. He's not going to be around. And every year, it got harder and harder each recruiting cycle. And so all of a sudden, you're no longer competing with Georgia, you're competing with Arkansas for guys. Yeah. And then your roster is a whole dip. So you don't want to get into that cycle. So the question that Florida will have to prove to people if they're not winning is, I will be here, Billy Napier will be here, all these people are going to be here. Don't worry, they're giving us time, all right? But you got to be able to prove that to kids and their parents because everybody else recruiting him is going to say, well, that's not what we hear.
Right.
And even if he does survive, what if he has a bad year next year? Then he's definitely gone. Do you want to have a new coach after 1 year of college? So once you get into that hole, it's very hard to climb out of it.
Any recruit I've ever talked to, I've always told them you commit to a program, not to a coach, because you never know what's going to happen. But you and I both know that's not how this always shakes out. Let me ask you this one. What's your perception of how locked in DJ Lagway is? Do you think that the on-the-field results matter to him, or he's just in lockstep with this staff and he's coming no matter what?
Well, I think they matter. I think he wants them to win, but he sees. Look, first of all, he thinks that they had a good hand in Anthony Richardson going number 4 in the draft, right? So what is every kid's goal? So he likes that Billy Napier and the QB coach Ryan O'Hara were actively involved in that, and he's confident that they had a lot to do with that. So that's significant. Secondly, I just spent a lot of time with him and his dad, and I'll just tell you that from what I'm told from people in their inner circle, given what happened with Florida and Jaden Rashada last year, a lot of people would say, well, wouldn't Lagway and his family be concerned that the same? I don't know what the situation. I'm just saying, but are they concerned that something similar could happen? They're not. They're not. Here's why. They know Florida can't afford that PR nightmare all over again, right?
It's probably true. That is.
That's right. So they're confident in that. So they're not even really worried. They feel good about that. They love the staff. They feel good about that. DJ just loves the University of Florida. He's at home in Florida. I talked to his dad extensively after the visit last week, and he just said, man, DJ just loves this place. He says, you know what? He loves it, and so I love it. So I feel very good right now. Look, things always can change. You never say never. But right now, Florida's not worried, and I don't think the Lagways are looking anywhere else. Now, that said, Texas A&M hasn't given up. We've also heard, maybe USC, Southern Cal chirping in his ear a little bit. Who knows? But right now, they feel pretty good about things. He's actively recruiting. He really bonds with the coaches. I mean, So, we'll see.
Well, UF has done a really good job closing on kids really quickly. When you look at Xavier Filsaime and some of the other guys, they've really just kind of gone in and taken big time shots and landed guys. That timing kind of seems to be pretty aligned with when UF's NIL got a makeover and a new direction. Do you think that the two could be linked?
I don't know. I'm not ruling it out. I just don't deal with that too much.
Sure.
And I know we just talked about NIL with Lagway, but that was a unique situation. I don't know that I can't say that with any certainty, Allie. I don't want to diminish what they're doing. They may be the best in the business. I don't know, but I specifically haven't dug too deep into that. So I don't want to give you some BS type answer.
All right. So are there any surprises that fans out there should keep their eyes peeled for with this 2024 class?
Well, I got to leave something to the subscribers, Allie, but no, I'm kidding. But I don't know. Look, if it's generally a surprise to the fans, it's often a surprise to all of us too, right? Mm-hmm. There'll be new names emerging. There'll be kids showing up in the fall that we hadn't even realized they were tracking. No, like I said, if it's just no, I don't. Nothing. I'm not really giving you good stuff here at the end here, Allie.
All right.
But that's the reality of the situation. Surprises are surprises to me too.
Yeah.
But look, you have your boards, right? And you keep plucking away and seeing what you can get. Like, so a guy like, I'll give you one here. So TJ Moore, the receiver at Tampa Catholic, just committed to Clemson, which means no more visits, right? They have the deal. If you go there, you don't get to visit anywhere else. Of course, Deshaun Watson visited Auburn, and they still kept him, okay? So if you're really good, you can still visit other places, by the way. But point being, if you're Florida, you keep chipping away, and you hope that maybe you can get him on campus later in the year. And if you do, then you probably have a shot, knowing that Clemson does not like its guys taking visits. So to me, a guy like that would be somebody to watch. A committed guy to a school like Clemson, but as it gets closer to signing day, what's he thinking? Does he want to be closer to home? That kind of stuff. But sometimes to pull those things off, you need an eye-opening win or two. You know what I mean? So we'll see. But nothing really coming. The question was a surprise itself, so you caught me off guard there.
Well, I'm full of surprises, Keith. All right. So let's let everybody know who is listening at home, where they can follow you, where they can read your work, and, keep up with all the things that you are sharing with Gator fans these days.
Yeah, I would just say go to gatorsonline.com. Twitter is just me just putting links to the site up anyway. So I'm not chasing followers, but we are chasing subscribers. So gatorsonline.com. And we write about 200 recruiting stories a month. So if that's your bag, you'll probably like the site. So I appreciate you guys having me on.
All right, Keith, we appreciate it so much. You have a good night.
Oh, you too. Take care.
If you missed either of our first two videos with Keith, you can watch them both by clicking on the screen right now.